Hey guys, Alex from 7th Hour Films back again with One Punch Man. Last time on One Punch Man, we had the Deep Sea King, where basically the sea folk were attacking the surface, and they were pretty much all defeated by the pro-hero Stinger? I think it was Stinger. But then the Deep Sea King came in, and he was way more powerful than pretty much everyone. And we also had a Class S hero, was it Putty Prisoner, but he got wrecked. Sonic, Speed of Sound Sonic, also came back, but he was no match as well. We had Saitama catch up with Moomin Rider, and the two of them were on their way to face the Deep Sea King. Let's see. But then they got separated. Genos has made it to the Deep Sea King, so he's about ready to fight. Moomin Rider is also about to... he is on his way to face the Deep Sea King. And Saitama... I mean, he's behind, but he'll catch up eventually. He'll catch up and throw his punch, and the day will be saved. So, yeah. But it was a pretty... I mean, it was kind of an intense episode, because we kept seeing heroes getting wrecked, you know? And it's honestly a very huge threat, and it was also a cliffhanger. So yeah, that was pretty much that. This is where I say no spoilers in the comments whatsoever. This is also where I say that if you want to watch my reaction to this episode of One Punch Man, what you gotta do is head down into the description or to the pinned comment. That will take you over to the reaction. You can watch it just like any normal reaction, and when you're done with that, you can pop right back over here to this video for the discussion. So let's go ahead and get into Season 1, Episode 9 of One Punch Man. Here we go. That, I think, is my favorite episode so far. And it's interesting because, you know, with all the buildup of last episode with the Deep Sea King, and there's quite a lot, you know, down to, you know, a Class S hero like, you know, Putty Prisoner being just dominated, and even Sonic, Speed of Sound Sonic kind of being dominated too. You know, for all the hype that it builds up, obviously it's so easily resolved in this episode because, you know, well, it's easily resolved because of, obviously, Saitama and his one punch, you know? That's all he ever has to do is the one punch. And you know it's coming, and you know as soon as he gets there, alright, one punch time. But even just down to the fact that the fight with Genos was not a very long fight. Like, you know, I often say that, you know, oh, well, if the show ever needs to sort of pad for time, you just have Genos fight, because Genos can never win. Genos never really beats the villain because Saitama has to do it, you know? So Genos always has to just sort of pad out for time, but that was a very quick fight, and mainly because of the acid, too. But still, despite the fact that, you know, all the hype that's built up from last episode is resolved so quickly, honestly, this is maybe one of my favorite episodes for the characters, you know? Like, I honestly do think this is my favorite episode so far. And I will be curious to see if anything really tops this, you know? But I just loved it. Loved it! So, we can go ahead and hop into the notes. The first thing I wrote down is Genos versus DSK, the Deep Sea King. Which, again, that was pretty cool. You know, I mean, he tried the one punch. Or the one punch blast, you know, Genos' equivalent of the one punch, and it did do a little damage, but not enough, and he lost his arm, and then, you know, later there was the acid, that pretty much destroyed most of his body, you know, which that did definitely seem like a Piccolo thing, where it's like, oh, Piccolo, he has to get in front of Gohan in order to, you know, he takes the blast so that Gohan survives. It's like, well, wait, you probably could have just grabbed him and, you know, gotten both of you out of the way. It's like, honestly, yeah, if Genos is fast enough to get in front of that acid, he probably was fast enough to go and, grab the girl and her parent and get them out of the way, and then keep fighting. But whatever. That's a classic sort of, honestly, that's kind of an anime thing, That's really just an anime trope, I guess, of, or even just a superhero, heroic thing to do is, get in front of the blast and try to take it, whereas, like, you probably could have just gotten that guy out of the way, so, but, it makes, it gives Genos a real sacrifice in this episode, too, because, for the most part, I mean, like, when I'm thinking back to, like, let's say, Carnage Kabuto, like, Genos, he went in, he fought, and then he kind of, got knocked down, and then Saitama just came in and, and finished the fight. Whereas this time, it's like, no, Genos is, like, down for the count in this one. He is on the brink of death right there, and, he's almost as bad as he is as bad as pretty much all the other heroes that have fought the Deep Sea King, Now, it does make me wonder, it's like, okay, could Genos beat the Deep Sea King? Potentially, I feel like. I feel like he could have potentially beaten the Deep Sea King. I think it would have been a long and arduous fight, but I think he could have done it, Which, that's the thing, I do want Genos to have a moment of victory, and we just haven't had that yet, So, it's just that, like, he could have kept going. He was still going, even with without his right arm. He was still putting up a decent fight, but it was the acid that kind of took him out, So that's the thing. And then we got Moomin Rider. Our boy Moomin Rider, the top of Class C, coming in. And I honestly really like Moomin Rider. Like, he is a hero, Even if he doesn't have the power, and he admits, like, look, I don't have the power to beat the Deep Sea King. I know that. I don't need anyone telling me that. But I'm not about to just sit back and do nothing, which we kind of also had last episode, where it's like, okay, here's a couple, Class C, Class B, and a Class A hero, and yeah, did they get totally wrecked by the Deep Sea King? Yes. But they had to try because they are heroes, and Moomin Rider is definitely a hero. Which I find that it's very interesting with these anime about superheroes, because and I guess I've only really seen two, this and My Hero Academia, but it's always interesting when they show, it's like, oh, there's a bunch of superheroes. A lot of them kind of suck, There's a reason that Hero Killer Stain was a thing on My Hero Academia, the Hero Killer might need to show up here, deal with some of these false heroes, Like, there are people like, and I don't know, I guess we haven't, like, met anyone in particular, but I mean, like, people like Metal Knight, who it's like, oh, I'm just here to test my weapons. Like, dude, you should be here to get rid of the friggin' meteor, Or Tank Top Tiger, who's like, oh, well, this guy, he just sucks. I'm just gonna get rid of this guy. It's like, what are you doing? You're a hero. Who cares? Like, so that's the thing. So when we get someone like Moomin Rider, it's like, no, this is a hero, like Genos, like Saitama, It's the same thing in MHA, where it's like, like, oh, the hero killer, he tries to take out heroes, or, heroes like Endeavor, who it's like, yeah, he's a hero, but he's also kind of a prick, He's also entirely a prick, and he's just doing his job just to beat people up. He's not like All Might, Moomin Rider is like All Might. He just doesn't have the power, Even if, Moomin Rider, he doesn't have the power, but that is not going to stop him from going and doing his job, because he is a hero, So I like that. I really did like that. And yeah, he did get his ass beat, but he didn't die. None of them died, at least. That's at least good. And I do like, Saitama catching him and, putting him down. It's like, hey, good work. You should be proud of. Good fight. You should be proud. So I really did like that. And then obviously, we had Saitama versus the Deep Sea King. Obviously, it's just over in one punch. I love that because I think there was a moment with the fight with Genos where they throw a punch or something and like, oh, all the rain is gone, and then it starts to come back. I love that when Saitama does his punch, all the rain is gone, and it's gone. Like, the weather changes. It's like with All Might, he throws one punch and the weather changes, like the rain is gone. So, I really did love that. That was really cool. And yeah, obviously, Saitama takes him out in one punch. We were all waiting for it, but it's like, this show is not about the one punch, honestly. It's about everything before and after the one punch, and the one punch is just a thing that happens, Like, even though, yes, it is cool to see, it's obviously really, really cool when Saitama throws the one punch, but honestly, the show isn't really about that. You're not here, okay, maybe you came, like, okay, phrasing, it's like, you came for the one punch, you stay for the story before and after, is basically One Punch Man. Fuck that guy who is like, oh, well, the other heroes, it's like, fuck that guy, come on, It's just so infuriating, like, just get out of here, like, So that guy was infuriating, but I like that it's like, they sacrificed themselves for nothing because he just came in here with one punch. And it's like, and I like Saitama being like, hey, it's a good thing the other heroes wore this guy down for me. It's like, hey, I guess I'll be taking all the credit, but, don't go telling anyone that they all wore him down for me, So I like that. It's like, even though he has wanted to gain more attention as a hero, he's wanted credit for what he does. Honestly, it doesn't really matter to him, It doesn't actually matter to him. Like, which is the same thing of like, when he went and destroyed the meteor, and it's like, if heroes give up, who's going to save people? It's like he's just there to do his job, He's just a hero because he likes to be a hero, It's just that. He doesn't care, honestly, if he does get all the recognition. Now, yes, he would like some recognition, if only just so that he doesn't have to do the weekly quotas, And that has gotten him into Class B. But, honestly, it's like, oh, well, they're all thinking that it's like, oh, well, he did it all, and all these other heroes, they just suck. They should have just, it doesn't even matter. It's just this guy. And he's just like, no. These guys sacrificed themselves, to save people. Even if they didn't defeat the Deep Sea King, they sacrificed themselves so that people could live. And people need to know that. And that is why Saitama was like, hey, they wore him down for me so that I could finish him off, Like, he is now instilling that it's like, no, I am a cheat. If it means that other people will get the credit they deserve, So I like that. So, again, Saitama, a real hero. I love that. And he did make it to Class C, Rank 1, outranking Moomin Rider, which is pretty interesting. But then he was allowed into Class B, which is pretty cool. So I like that. So no more weekly quotas for him, which is good. But yeah, and the Hero Association, I like that the Hero Association is still trying to understand him, And they just haven't. They just haven't figured him out yet. They haven't figured out the whole, he's just a hero to be a hero, He doesn't do it for the money or the fame or anything. He's just doing it because he likes to be a hero. They haven't quite figured him out yet. So I like, I do like that. And I like the one guy saying, he's like, hey, why don't we let him into Class B? And if he's really a cheat, then he's going to completely fail. So I do like that. I do like that it's like, there are some people that are starting to understand Saitama, but just the constant just not understanding him is very interesting and trying to figure him out. So I like that. And I like that moment at the end with Moomin Rider. It's like, hey, let's celebrate you getting into Class B, That was really, really cool. And then, seeing the two of them on the bicycle, like, talking about how they're heroes, like, it's just so cool. And then at the end, after the credits, we got a God-level threat incoming. Because that's the thing, is with the different threat levels, God means that this could destroy the Earth, and that's exactly what this, I guess, fortune teller said. So yeah, there is a God-level threat coming up, which I believe we only have 3 episodes left of this season. So I will be very curious as to where we're going with that. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I really, really enjoyed this. I think this is honestly my favorite episode so far. And I can't wait to see where we are going next. So that is pretty much it. With all that being said, I'm Alex from 7th Hour Films, and I will see you guys next time. Take care. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. If you want to watch more of my One Punch Man reactions, you can click on the playlist, you can subscribe if you haven't done that already, and be sure you hit that notification bell. You can support me on Patreon and follow me on social media, links below in the description. See you guys later.